Beit Hanina is a Palestinian neighborhood in East Jerusalem. It is on the road to Ramallah, 8 kilometers north of central Jerusalem, at an elevation of 780 meters above sea level. Beit Hanina is bordered by Hizma to the east, Shuafat to the south, Beit Iksa and Nabi Samwil to the west, and Bir Nabala, Al-Jib, Kafr Aqab and Aram to the north. Beit Hanina is divided by the Israeli West Bank barrier into Al-Jadida, which is located within the Israeli Jerusalem municipality and includes the vast majority of the built-up area, and Al-Balad, which lies outside the municipality. The total area of Beit Hanina is 16.3 square kilometers of 16,284 dunams, of which 2,775 are built up. In 2007, Beit Hanina had a population of over 27,000, including 26,762 Jerusalem residents in the new village and 1,072 under pioneer administration. Etymology. Literally, Beit Hanina means house of Hanina, suggesting that it is named after a person, possibly a woman. Some scholars say that Hanina is derived from the Assyrian Hanina, which means the one who deserves pity. It could also be derived from the word Hana, meaning camped. Archaeology. In June 2013, Israel Antiquities Authority unearthed an 1800-year-old Roman road in Beit Hanina. The Jerusalem Post wrote about this discovery. According to the Antiquities Authority, the 8-meter-wide road, which dates back to the Roman Empire, led from Jaffa to Jerusalem and was built with large flat stones and curbstones to create a surface that was comfortable for walking. Some of the stones were highly polished, indicating heavy pedestrian use, the authority added. History. Beit Hanina may date back to the Canaanite period. According to the 19th-century French traveler Victor Guérin, Beit Hanina is the biblical Ananiah of the tribe of Benjamin. Edward Robinson concurred, but W.F. Albright maintained that Ananiah is the village of Al-Isaiah in East Jerusalem. Guérin also read that it was sometimes called Beit Hanina. In 636, Beit Hanina was annexed by the Islamic Caliphate led by Umar ibn al-Khattab as a result of a decisive Muslim victory over the Byzantines at the Battle of Yarmouk. In the early centuries of Islamic rule over Palestine, Yemenite and Qaisi Arabs migrated to Beit Hanina. The economy was agricultural, based primarily on olives, figs, barley and bulgur. In 1099, Crusader armies captured Jerusalem, including Beit Hanina, inflicting heavy casualties on the Muslim population and causing most of the residents to flee. They later returned to cultivate their orchards and grain fields. The town was recaptured by the Ayyubid dynasty led by Salah ad-Din, to ensure a Muslim majority and protect it from a renewed Crusader invasion. Salah ad-Din brought powerful Bedouin tribes from the Negev desert and the northern Hejaz to settle in the area. The Friday Mosque in Beit Hanina, Sultan Ibrahim ibn Adam Mosque, is dedicated to Ibrahim ibn Adam. Guérin had noted it was dedicated to Sidi Ibrahim. In 1927, Tawfiq Kainan published the inscription above the gate of the mosque, which commemorated its building in 637 1239 1240 CE. Ottoman era. The village was incorporated into the Ottoman Empire in 1517, with all of Palestine, and in 1596 Beit Hanina appeared in Ottoman tax registers as being in the Nahiyah of Quds of the Liwa of Quds. It had a population of 28 Muslim households. Guérin, who visited in 1863, estimated that the village had 300 inhabitants, while an official Ottoman village list of about about 1870 showed that Beit Hanina had 65 houses and a population of 240, though the population count included only men. In 1883, the Palestine Exploration Fund's survey of Western Palestine described it as a village of moderate size, of stone houses, standing on very rocky ground on the ridge between two valleys. It is surrounded with olives, and has springs to the west at some little distance. Vineyards also occur near the village. British Mandate era. In a census conducted in 1922 by the British Mandate authorities, Beit Hanina had a population of 996, all Muslims, increasing in the 1931 census to a population of 1226, still all Muslims, in 317 houses. In 1945 Beit Hanina had a population of 1,590, all Arabs, with 14,948 dunams of land, according to an official land and population survey. Of this, 3,072 dunams were plantations and irrigable land, 4,304 used for cereals, while 219 dunams were built-up land. During the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Beit Hanina was captured by Jordanian forces, along with the rest of the West Bank, and became a part of Jordan until 1967. Under Jordanian rule, new roads and schools were built, and many of the town's émigrés invested in the development of a modern suburb, then known as Ras Al Tariq, located to the east along the Jerusalem-Ramallah highway. 1967 and aftermath. After the 1967 Six-Day War, the Israelis occupied the West Bank, along with Beit Hanina, and the municipal boundaries of Jerusalem were expanded to include the eastern section of Beit Hanina, now known as Beit Hanina Al-Jadida, and formalized that policy in 1980. In the post-1967 era, according to Ibrahim Mattar, the first objective of the Israeli planners in drawing these new boundaries was to maximize the land area and minimize the Palestinian population to be included in Greater East Jerusalem. By examining the map, one can identify a number of Palestinian villages which have been excluded from the boundaries of Greater East Jerusalem but whose lands have been included in these boundaries. For example, in the west, the villages of Beit Iksa and Beit Hanina are considered outside the boundaries while the lands are inside. After the Second Intifada, Israel began to build the Israeli West Bank barrier, which separated the Jerusalem section of Beit Hanina from the West Bank. Due to its urban nature, the route near the town is part of the 10% which employs a concrete wall. The area has sometimes been the scene of clashes between the Israeli security forces and Palestinian militant factions. On the 18th of April 2012, a Palestinian family, the Natchez, was evicted from two houses in the wake of an Israeli court decision that the land was owned by Jews. The Israel Land Fund had purchased the buildings in 1977 as part of a plan for a Jewish neighborhood of 50 apartments called Nof Shmuel. The Natchez family stated that the documents were forged and that family members had owned part of the property since the 1940s, but the Israeli court dismissed it, citing lack of evidence. The European Union condemned the eviction, and said they were very concerned by the plans to build a new settlement in the midst of this traditional Palestinian neighborhood. On the 27th of April 2012, about 150 Palestinian, Israeli and foreign activists staged a protest that led to clashes with Israeli police. In 2012, a street in Beit Hanina was named for Kulthum. Nasreen Qadari, winner of the TV reality show Al-Golan Is Calling You, sang one of the Egyptian singer's famous songs, Enter Omri, at the ceremony. Since 2012, two houses are populated by Jews. An Israeli news site, enetnews.com, reported on February 27, 2014 on a report by the Palestinian newspaper Al-Quds that claimed that U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry offered in his discussions with Mahmoud Abbas, president of the Palestinian Authority, to make Beit Hanina the capital of a future Palestinian state. According to Al-Quds, Kerry demanded Abbas to officially recognize Israel as a Jewish state and offered that Beit Hanina neighborhood will be declared as the Palestinian capital instead of the entire East Jerusalem area. Education. The College of Dawah and Religious Principles was established in Beit Hanina in 1978. A branch of Al-Quds University is also located there. There are 4 mosques in Beit Hanina: Sultan Ibrahim ibn Adam Mosque, Badr Mosque, Mosque of Religion College, and Mosque of Teachers Suburb. Christian schools include the Rosary Sisters and the La Salle College des Frères built a new school in Beit Hanina in 2000. The Catholic Church runs a community centre and St. Jacob's Church. In 2012, the Beit Hanina Girls' School, serving grades 5 to 12, was renovated with funding from the Japanese government. Transportation. The neighborhood's main street, Beit Hanina Road, was previously part of Route 60. In the 1990s, a new route was built to the east of the neighborhood, a dual carriageway with 3 lanes in each direction, relieving traffic congestion along the road. The Jerusalem Light Rail has a stop in Beit Hanina. In 2011, Israel began constructing a road that would link East Jerusalem neighborhoods, including Beit Hanina, to the center of West Jerusalem. According to the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, Peace Now representatives argue that the road's current route isn't legal, since the plan designates occupied territory for permanent infrastructures for the occupying power, while completely disregarding the needs of the Palestinian residents in Beit Hanina and the area. People connected to Beit Hanina. Abdul Hameed Showman, a native of Beit Hanina, founded the Arab Bank. His son, Abdul Majid Showman, succeeded his father as the chairman of the Arab Bank in 1974. In 2005, the New York Times reported on the death of Abdul Majid Showman and explained that Mr. Showman was from a prominent Palestinian family from the West Bank town of Beit Hanina. His father, Abdul Hameed Showman, established the first branch of the Arab Bank in Jerusalem in 1930. The bank was a symbol of Palestinian aspirations, representing a drive to create financial institutions for a new nation. According to Lawrence Joff, often Showman rescued Jordan from fiscal disaster. In 2000 he released funds to support their Jordanian dinar, which had collapsed after King Hussein died. Guy Delisle depicted his 2008-2009 stay in Beit Hanina in Jerusalem. In 2010, Akiva Eldar reported in Haaretz that the then Palestinian Authority Prime Minister, Salam Fayyad, lived in Beit Hanina. Eldar wrote, "Last Tuesday we accompanied the Palestinian Prime Minister during his workday as a state builder. Early in the morning his black Mercedes left the well-guarded villa in the Beit Hanina neighborhood on Jerusalem's northern outskirts. The Fayyad lives with his wife and his younger son, a student at a high school in the city." Environmental issues. Since Beit Hanina is an East Jerusalem village, it has the same environmental concerns as the rest of Palestine and Israel. In the journal article, Scenario Development for 2050 for the Israeli-Palestinian Water Sector, Jonathan Chenoweth describes what can happen as the population increases with regard to water scarcity. Chenoweth states, "Already Israel and Palestine have very low water resources availability compared to the global average. In the case of Palestine, this water scarcity directly impacts upon daily life and economic activity for much of the population. With rapid population growth in the region and water resources already inadequate, the long-term hydrological future of region appears problematic. Palestine is experiencing a severe water crisis caused mainly by the lack of control over the Palestinian water resources. At present, the average per capita water consumption by the Palestinian population is approximately 55 lcd, or 55% of the WHO minimum standard of 100 lcd. The above statements show that the communal water supply for the Palestinian population is substantially inadequate by international standards. The available water resources in the Middle East are scarce, limited, fragile and threatened. They are already exploited, especially in Palestine. A large proportion of the water resources in the Middle East in general, and in Palestine as particular, are transboundary, and final arrangements on water resources allocation between Palestinians and Israelis are not yet in place for fair and equitable apportionment. Palestinians in Beit Hanina and East Jerusalem in general usually have less water supplies than other parts of Jerusalem. For example, in July 2012, Haaretz reported, for the past month the water supply to tens of thousands of Palestinian homes in East Jerusalem has been sporadic, at times no more than 2 days a week. The problem affects communities connected to the city water system as well as ones that receive the water from the Palestinian Authority. Bibliography